Welcome to the world's first straight talk solarcast. This is your go-to podcast for answers about solar. Brought to you by Solar Harmonics in Northern California, who invite their customers to own their energy by purchasing a solar panel system for their home, business, or farm. Each episode, we discuss questions facing people making the decision to go solar. The solutions to your questions are given to you straight by one of the leading experts in the solar industry, Jamie Duran, president of Solar Harmonics. Feel free to search our library for answers to questions that you're facing when considering solar. And now, here's Adam Duran, our host with the questions, and Jamie Duran, our solar expert with Straight Talk Solarcast.
Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Adam.
How's everything in the land of solar this week?
Well, a couple big things happened, earlier this month that kind of are going to affect the outlook of the solar industry and pretty much every industry now that we have a new president elected.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes. I'm sure lots of people might be aware that we had a new, with 80% of the counties voting in favor. Counties, not just states, but counties voted for that. 8 out of 10 is still staggering to me. I mean, if that's not a mandate of change, I think that's, I don't know what is then, maybe 100%, but holy moly.
I think it's similar to Ronald Reagan's win. He turned the whole country. I mean,
I remember. I definitely remember, and came out and said, not that I was voting age or anything.
Yeah, no kidding.
Coming out and saying it was a complete mandate to go this direction, and it was a large endorsement. So, yep. I think
so what's on the docket for today? What are you talking about?
Well, in previous podcasts we talked about one of the major issues that the new president said that he was going to change immediately was the repeal of the Inflation Reduction Act. Called it the biggest scam in the history of the United States. And for people who don't know, the Inflation Reduction Act, besides guaranteeing this solar federal tax credit at 30% till 2034, it also bumped it another 10% on commercial projects if they could use domestic content. Mm-hmm. Meaning, U.S.-made equipment, which made sense. The idea was that it was going to spur investment into the solar industry, especially on making our own solar panels. And then quite a few companies actually made the move to invest in U.S. solar but also build their plants here. So it was having a pretty good effect. And also, solar took a huge hit in California, but the rest of the country is kind of plugging along. So while solar is not a no-brainer anymore like it was a few years ago, it is still makes sense in California. It's just not as much of a no-brainer. And it's collapsed some of the biggest solar companies, leaving just one publicly traded residential solar company left. And they're in big trouble. And so when the president-elect said that he was going to, his first order of business was to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act, that got everyone in solar extremely nervous. PG&E was, as we discussed, licking their lips, could not wait because if solar goes out, that means really they have no. There's no time to buy PG&E stock, in other words, because there's no guardrails, and there's no choice really. So people, if you don't have solar, you're going to have to pay PG&E, and if you do have solar, chances are your solar company is going to be out of business, and not just a few solar companies, but all the rest of them, pretty much. So it's the companies that survived the NEM 3.0. Did so with massive job cuts and expense reduction and changing pretty much everything that they do to stay in business. But they're kind of pulling through, and they've made cut all the fat and are now proceeding, and they're doing pretty well, except for some of the ones that were already losing tons of money. Mm-hmm. and we're hanging on. But now, if the tax credit, if that does go away and gets repealed, most of those companies will be gone. And so, what I was happy to see is that there's some pushback on states and legislators that do not want to get rid of the Inflation Reduction Act. Can you guess why? Okay.
No.
So, okay, that's fine.
I see this wave, Jamie, and I'm like, okay, yeah, we got to all ride the wave. It's okay. Yeah.
So 86%, and this is the sources, Yahoo Finance, Trump likely to roll back but not dismantle the clean energy spending. And the reason is that 86% of the Inflation Reduction Act money largely went to red districts. So those lawmakers are saying, hey, bro, let's not get crazy here, because our states, essentially the red states are receiving the bulk of the benefit of this Inflation Reduction Act. And because it's not just solar, it's also heat pumps and electric vehicles. And as I mentioned, a lot of these states, when Trina Solar is putting in, they're a Chinese company, and they're building a new facility it's not in California or Washington. It's in, and I forget which red state. I'm sure our listeners will correct me because I don't have it in front of me, but and then they said, for the day that Trump was elected, they said, forget it, we're out. And they said, so I think they had put $2 billion into their U.S. plant. And then the day he was elected, they said, see you later. And hopefully those lawmakers are trying to turn that around, because that's obviously makes a lot of sense to keep it going if they put that much money into it already. But it is interesting, because the states that are now in favor of it are ones that do have electric vehicle manufacturing going on, and including, our friend is Trump's second biggest fan, or biggest fan, is Elon Musk, and he happens to own a electric vehicle company.
Wait,
and
what?
The Inflation Reduction Act. It's true.
Hey, okay.
Because the Inflation Reduction Act guaranteed a $7,500 tax credit on new vehicles. And so, that's hey, bro, I just gave you 40, whatever, hundreds of millions of dollars for your campaign. You can't, hurt my business by doing that. So I do agree that some things may change, but probably the solar tax credit is somewhat safe. And, maybe there's some other features in there of helping manufacturing start and continue in the United States. But for the company, it's probably going to turn off companies from wanting to start new developments and new manufacturing in the United States. But yeah, it is interesting how, on further review, there might be the tax credit continuing, which would be great for solar, be great for California. And obviously great for these red states that have the manufacturing that they're receiving, and their constituents are benefiting from the Inflation Reduction Act. So very interesting, and how things continue to evolve as we have a new president, new administration, and see how things will progress that way. What do you think?
Yeah, I from what I've read, that another day one promise was getting rid of the electric car mandates, or something to that effect. And I was like, I thought those were state-led initiatives. I didn't know that was a federal thing.
Well, the tax credit part is federal thing. So, and he's also
removing that.
He wants to get rid of all the offshore wind developments. And even though it's a small part of, so small part of the Inflation Reduction Act is wind development. And so lots of projects are in process on that. But it's, we'll see what happens. Maybe he's not quite familiar with what power he has versus the states have. But if if he tells Congress to pass a repeal, who knows if it's actually going to happen? Maybe they'll stand up to him, but it would be, I just read a statistic said 3.46 million people are employed in the clean energy companies, and that would be that'd be quite a few people that would need to be laid off if the Inflation Reduction Act was repealed. So we will see what happens, but it's at least right now, from what I'm seeing, we're treading water, and it comes to Inflation Reduction Act, 30% solar tax credit, and 10% bonus solar tax credit for domestic content. I think those are. Now, if we can just move the 10% over to the residential side, which is what we were kind of hoping would happen before the end of the year. But now everyone's just, please don't get rid of the 30% solar tax credit. So hopefully that'll be safe. And if it is, then solar is going to continue for years and years. But if it isn't, then might be time to, last week we were talking, all the stocks that tanked the day of the election, the solar stocks anyway, it might be time to start looking at those again. They might be rebounding already. We'll see.
Yeah, and Tesla stock too. I think they must Tesla be down stock, on this news.
Yeah. No, they dropped today 5%, but they're cruise. Since Trump was elected, I think they're at like 40%. So it's crazy. Crazy.
There you go.
But Bitcoin's cruising. We like that too.
Great.
For those people who are mining Bitcoin in their garage with their excess solar power. Yeah, we like that a lot.
Excellent. Okay.
Yep.
You were going to wrap it up there, Jamie?
Yep. We can wrap it up there. Thank you.
Oh, boy. All right. We're going to wrap it up there. Thank you for taking another few minutes out of your week to listen and learn more about solar. Like Jamie always says, there's always something going on. Every week, there's something going on in the land of solar. So we value and appreciate every one of you who listens and tunes in every week to spend that time with us, because we know it's valuable. So thank you very much. If you have a question for Jamie for an upcoming episode, you can go to our Facebook page, Straight Talk Solarcast, send us a message through there, and we'll be sure to get to it on an upcoming episode. If you'd like to visit a library of our past episodes, go to solarharmonics.com, click at the podcast link at the top of the page, and you'll be taken to that library. If you have a friend considering going solar, please refer this podcast to them, because it will save them thousands upon thousands of dollars over the life of their system. And that is an amazing friend you shall be. So until next time, everyone, see you.
That's all for now. Thank you for listening to this episode of Straight Talk Solarcast with solar expert Jamie Duran. Join us each week for more answers to your solar questions. Speaking of questions, got some? Email us at solarcast@solarharmonics.com, and we'll be sure to give you an answer in an upcoming episode. This episode of Straight Talk Solarcast is brought to you by Solar Harmonics, the leading solar energy developer in Northern California, who invite you to own your energy. Visit them on the web at www.solarharmonics.com.